sticking front wheel caliper on a Skoda Fabia Mark 1 99 to 2007. This is a 1.9 pump juice engine, and whilst recently taking it out on the road, I found the car was really down on power and it wouldn't accelerate. And then when I got back, the wheel on the right hand side was really hot compared with the other side. So I jacked up the car and found that the brakes were sticking, as you can see here. And obviously they shouldn't do that. The pads were sticking to the discs and weren't releasing, and then creating heat. So there's a number of things these can be. If they're old warm brakes, then they could have jammed or seized. But I know that these are actually relatively new discs and pads, and these brakes don't come with shims. They're a floating caliper on guide pins, which it could be the guide pins, but I'm pretty sure that they're pretty good condition anyway, so I don't think it's that, but I will have a look at them. I'm pretty sure it's a sticking piston, so I'm going to attempt to free that up. So to take the caliper off, you need to take the guide pins out. I'll just take this little cap off, this protective cover, and underneath is a 7mm Allen bolt. Well, it's not really a bolt, it's a guide pin, 7mm. So I'll break those loose and take them out. They're not actually easy to get out once you've loosened them. Once you've got to the end of the thread, you've got to sort of ease them out to slip, because they grip onto the little rubber cover. So you have to kind of turn them and tease them out until you can get your fingers on them to take them out. I find you can sort of pull them out gently with a bit of side pressure from the Allen key until you can get your fingers on them, and then you can just pull them out. Let's have a look at this one. That's not too bad actually. They're not scored at all. Right, the other one. What's that like? Pretty much the same really. I don't think there's any reason that they're sticking on those. So I'll give the caliper a bang with a hammer just to loosen it all off. Then I should just be able to pull the caliper off with the pads attached. Take the pads out, they're just clipped in so they'll clip out. And as you can see, the new pads. Yeah, the piston's a bit corroded, but it doesn't look too bad. I don't know. It's the vehicle's been stood for quite a long time, so that's probably what's wrong with it. It just hasn't been used. So what I'm going to do is just force the piston back in with a clamp as far as it'll go, and because the new pads, that's really where the operating problem is. It's not releasing when the piston's fully retracted. There's not enough free play in that area. So I'll try and force the piston back in as much as possible and then pump it out again. When you're retracting the piston, it's important to do it evenly, so I'm pulling it back in different areas. No doubt you can get a special tool for this to do it centrally, but I've always found a G-clamp to be sufficient if you pull it evenly from different sides. Right, before I move the piston, I'm going to take the cover off the reservoir, and if I need to take a bit of fluid out, I will. When you're pumping it, don't do it more than about twice or three times at the most. Right, let's move the piston. Now I'm going to wind it back again, and I'll repeat the process a number of times. Right, have a look at the guide pins, clean them up with a rag and have a look at them. They're pretty smooth. Don't think there's anything wrong with these at all. There's hardly any damage or rough bits or pitting. A little bit of some up there, but that's not to worry about. Right, I need to thoroughly lubricate these before I put them back, and what I use is Permatex. Put plenty on and smear it all over the pin. I just use that on the guide pins, and I'm going to use copperies on all the rest of the moving parts on the brakes. Put the pads back in. And then lubricate any likely moving parts along this top edge and then the bottom edge and on the carrier. These all look pretty clean because I cleaned them up before. So I'm just going to lubricate them a bit more. Now there's a bit of muck on that carrier, I'll just wipe that clean again. Refit the caliper on the carrier at the bottom and then put it on the disc and then refit the guide pins. As you can see, I put quite a lot of lubricant on these just to see if it makes any difference. Clean the other guide pin up, apply some more Permatex, insert that and tighten it up. Right, they're nicely lubricated. I'm happy with that. I'll just go and have to road test it now to see what it's really like, see if I've made any difference. Right, I'll test it again. A foot flat to the floor here. It's not going anywhere. Do it again on this bit. Yeah, it's not accelerating very well. So I can only conclude that I need a new caliper. Here's the new caliper. Nice and bright and shiny. But there's something not just quite right. Have you spotted it yet? Anyway, I attempted to put it on my car. Seated the banjo on nicely, and then I realised something. Oh, fuck. Beep! It's a left-hand side one. That's no beep. Good. Bollocks. Yep, they've sent the wrong one. This one's actually for the left-hand side. I knew I should have ordered a pair in the first place. Oh well, never mind. So I ordered another caliper separately. This time for the right hand side, and the difference being this lug here, it goes at the bottom on each side, which means each side is different. Take the old caliper off again, take the banjo off. I think I'm going to reuse the washers this time. You should replace them every time really, which is what I'd recommend. I have got some more, but I'm going to just test these out for a bit. I do take the wheel off regularly, so I can keep an eye on these. It'd be interesting to see how they fare over time. So I'll make sure that's nice and firmly attached. So as my blade nipples are stainless steel on my old ones, I'm going to swap these ones on the new one out for the stainless steel ones. And once again clean the carrier up. Put some copper-ease on all the moving parts. Put my pads back. And reattach the caliper with newly greased guide pins, again with Permatex. That's all done now, nice and tight. Just put the caps on and I can put the wheel back on and go test it. Whoops, need to bleed it first. Go into the car and pump the brake pedal a few times. So I'll get my pressure bleeder out. Attach that onto the reservoir cap. Pump the pressure tank up and then attach a pipe onto the end of the bleed nipple. Going into a jam jar or something. And I just need to undo the bleed nipple and let some fluid out. Here we are. Let quite a bit of fluid out to act as a fluid change, and then tighten it up. Not under tight or over tight. Take that off and put the little cap back on. And don't forget to tighten the caliper pins up to the correct torque. Oh, and that also the little cap covers, which I'm always doing for some reason. Anyway, go into the car again and pump it up, make sure you've got good pressure, which I have. So I'll take my pressure tank off and then I'll adjust the level using a turkey baster to take some fluid out, put the cap on and wipe up the area. That's just under the top mark, that'll do. And in the end, after thinking about it, I decided to get another caliper for the left hand side. So here it is. So that's the front brake sorted now. So I'll just go and test it. It's a nice glorious day in the Yorkshire countryside. Whoops, getting carried away there. Well, that's going alright. A little bit down on power, but I think as it's been stood for a while, it just needs using a bit more and a bit of fettling round the edges. I think I'll get Bob to have a look at it. Maybe take the exhaust manifold off, or the turbo, or give the turbo an overhaul. But anyway, that's for another video. As far as the brakes go, they're fine. So I'm off to get my MOT. And I'm a bit late, that's why I'm rushing. So I hope you liked this video and at least found it useful. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video.